I said, I blew the schedule already, so I will do what I can to catch up, and I know we will not be able to catch up, so I have the unenviable position of having to decide what to drop from the agenda. So I don't want that, trust me, Sherry. Okay, let's move on. Item 7, Representative.
I'm sorry, I think my question on meant with regard to Jason's participation.
Oh, I thought you wanted to do it as part of the public comment, but if...
What they were talking about was the same thing.
Right.
I'm terribly sorry.
Actually, mine was for him too.
You wrote number 9, so I wasn't sure.
She told me to put.
I'm aware of this. That's my fault.
All right, please come up, both of you. Sorry, Jason.
Thank you very much for coming and thank you for sticking around. First of all, just to make it clear to everyone, no gas field or oil field is safe. Regarding methane, no studies on an amount that filled the Rose Bowl daily last year and early this year has been conducted. There are no long-term health effect studies. Further, methane is very dangerous. It's 80 times more potent than carbon dioxide over 20 years due to its heat trapping ability. Very fleeting methane odors were mentioned, but not that they're cumulative. That's really important. I'm meeting with NASA next week at JPL, and we'll ask them about methane harm to our environment. But I think I know what they're going to say. And you mentioned UCLA. It was UCLA students that live in Porter Ranch that brought me to my first rally against SoCal Gas. So if you're talking about studies there, please include the dangerous parts because people are only hearing half of it. It's also worth mentioning, I was at the CEC PUC, it's at our joint agency workshop, and the real estate and chamber of commerce and charities who are dependent on their money. They're speaking out against us, and that's why it's really important to clear these things up. Solar is creating more jobs than coal now, we know, and that's safe. And then we have Chappelle's development projects coming up, which ultimately gives off tons of carbon dioxide. That's a real big deal too to consider. So when it opens, and there's 2 turbines, right, that they're building. So these are really important things people need to know. Thank you.
A couple of quick questions. You said that the wells can never be really sealed completely. How close is the closest monitoring system to the wells themselves?
So with regards to our monitor, it's the closest one to the wells is located at the community center of the Highlands area. We also, as I mentioned, do on-site monitoring with a mobile platform, so I guess that's as close as we get.
Why obviously it's not right at the wells, that's what I'm kind of getting at. Why can't there be monitoring systems right at the wells where the source of the leak would be coming from so you can get early detection from a baseline that increases before it actually gets to the community?
We may want to look at the leak detection, and then I think maybe the criminal case, if I read the Los Angeles Times correctly, there may be sensors, I believe pressure sensors on each of the wells, but you have to check the LA Times article for that.
I'm talking about basically air quality management. That's your job, not pertaining to operations management of the actual facility. You're talking about air quality, and that would be at the baseline from the actual origin of the leaks. If you can never seal the wells completely and there's always a leak, then you have a baseline established. You would be notified immediately if there's a heightened amount of gas before it gets to the community. Your monitoring system's way outside of that particular line. And then you can create a mobile application to notify people immediately when there's an elevation from the baseline, so that way we know what's going on. This is part of what your agency can do, not in compliant with the Southern California gas, but what the community wants, and that's early notification, baselines, and knowing what's happening, basically. That's all.
Well, that's a suggestion that we'll take up.
All right.
All right, so I have one question. My question is, we had 14 days of extremely high levels of benzene children, LAUSD, had the children. My daughter was pulled out of school from the very beginning. But what do those parents have to look forward to?
And I think that's something that has to be looked into the notification portion. And as far as, is this a hypothetical?
I'm just,
14?
yeah,
Okay,
it's just out there, you know?
yeah, I was just
Yeah,
wanting to confirm,
14
because if
days.
there's 14 days of actual, I wanted to look into that.
I believe it's 14, I could be wrong, but I thought it was,
You're talking about the leak repair requirement or shutdown requirement.
correct. I'm just wondering, what can the parents look forward to down the road? Or what do we have to be aware of?
In terms of looking at the higher, I mean, there are certain levels that would trigger emergency action, and that would be independent of, a leak that would spew a certain amount. So, like I think as mentioned before, if we become aware of it, as far as like, we are installing the real-time benzene monitor that's down there. If there is a large event, we're going to be down here on site with a bunch of equipment. We're going to be taking samples up here, taking back to the laboratory, and then based upon those levels, communicate that to the public. We're not going to wait 14 days to let people know.
We didn't find out after the fact, when we finally said, hey, there were 14 days, it was over and above.
I'm so sorry. My kids were running a mile for 5 days at this school, and the teacher said they had to. What about that? What about that? The 14 days, the 5 days, my kids have asthma. What is your notification time today? I'm sorry, I just want to know.
Sure, you can ask him the question.
I know, but it's like, I don't get an answer.
Then maybe he doesn't have an answer.
Who should I ask? Who should I ask?
Come
Take it to the
Saturday.
hearing board on Saturday.
Okay.
Come Saturday.
Take it to the hearing board on Saturday. Jason, thank you very much for being here. Let's move on, please. Thanks, officer.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank
you.
All right, can I, just to understand time management, how many government representatives we have that have something to report to us? 1, 2,
Only at your board's discretion. If you want me to, I will, if you save time, I
all right. Would you like to step up to the mic and
I'll keep it short, you guys.
thank you?
So Congress is back in session today. They'll be, or since last week, they'll be there through the end of the month, and they'll be taking another break in October to go back in November. I think just a couple of the bills that I want to go over, and I'll keep it short. One of the bills that the congressman co-sponsored passed yesterday, which was the Veterans Care Agreement and West Los Angeles Leasing Act, which basically directed the VA to use enhanced leases on the West LA VA campus to go and address the homelessness issue affecting veterans in LA County. One of the other bills is the HALT tax increases on Middle Class and Seniors Act, which will basically take the adjusted gross income to 7.5% from 10% for taxpayers beginning December 31st, 2015, and that also passed the House. There's a Regulatory Integrity Act of 2016, which directs each executive agency to make publicly available on the agency website or in the rulemaking docket on regulations.gov a list of pending agency regulatory actions, the date the agency began to develop or consider the action, the status, estimate date of the final ruling, and in effect a brief description of the action. That is going up for a vote tomorrow.
Can I say something? You can rest your fingers. We have this material printed that we will include in the minutes. I know you're trying hard, but we have the printed material. You can actually take a break, just note that she spoke, and we'll bring that material to include in the minutes.
And then the last bill that I want to mention that's going to be voted on tomorrow is the VA Accountability First and Appeals Modernization Act, which basically allows for the VA to remove or demote a VA employee based on performance or misconduct and provides specified federal employee performance appraisal provisions that shall not apply to such removals or demotions. So basically it allows the VA to remove employees that are either abusing the system or providing some sort of misconduct. And the last thing I want to mention that will apply to everyone here, if any of you guys have nieces, nephews, grandchildren, children yourselves that are interested in attending a military academy, the Congressman will be hosting his Service Academy Information Day this Saturday from 10 to 12 p.m. at the College of the Canyons University Center. So that we'll have one representative from each of the 5 academies there, as well as our nominations coordinator, to discuss the nominations process so these students know how to, get ready to apply for one of these academies. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, I'll email the flyers when you have it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The bill number for the homeless veteran?
Oh, yeah, I may have the, I'll give, I'll.
Do
You announce it to the public?
you have the number?
Oh, yeah, I have the number. It's, 5936? Yeah, 5936.
Thank you very much.
Congressman voted no on it.
Us too.
No, we voted yes. He's the co-sponsor of 5936.
Voted no.
But then, if you can take it to the side so we can see it too.
I don't really like to have my back to everybody. Just a preference. I'm Dusty Russell. I work for State Senator Fran Pavley. I just wanted to give you a quick update. The state legislature, the regular session ended on August 31st, and now the governor has until the end of September to sign all the remaining bills. Senator Pavley has had 14 bills go to the governor this year. Some of them have already been signed. Most of them are still awaiting signature. They touch on the clean energy economy, other environmental issues, bringing greater accountability to our charter schools, improving birth control access, supporting our state parks, victims restitution, and improving services for guide dog owners. Turning to Aliso Canyon, the comprehensive inspections that are required by Senator Pavley's 380, which was put into place and signed because of you, so thank you. I wanted to give you an update on the progress of those inspections. As of the 2nd, so every 2 weeks, Dogger posts what the updated status is. So this is from the 2nd. 79 of the 114 wells have been taken out of operation and are isolated from the reservoir. And then 20 wells, as somebody earlier had mentioned, they have all passed the tests, and then there are 15 that are still pending. I recently visited up at SoCal Gas, and the plan is that they still are hoping to try and open the facility by the end of the month, maybe into early October. But because of SB 380, Assam mentioned this a little bit earlier, Dogger has to come to the community first, and there will be ample notice for that public meeting. So you will all want to know about that. As soon as I know about it, you guys will know about it. And I'll check on the 15 days thing, because I'm not certain about that.
You better rent out your street.
Maybe later. One other bill, SB 887. This has to do with updating our standards for all natural gas storage facilities across California. This passed through everything. It is sitting on the governor's desk. So from what we understand, there doesn't seem to be too much pushback. We expect it will be signed. And basically, it's aligned with what Dogger is currently trying to do with the whole rulemaking process. So it pretty much provides a baseline for them to establish the new regulations. Some of you folks were talking about pressure levels and so forth. All of this is outlined in the regulations. And so I strongly encourage the community to be involved in the rulemaking process as it continues. Some of you folks are already engaged. Cutting through this fat here. Senator Pavley was successful in passing SB 32. This is monumental legislation. This actually builds on her landmark legislation from 2006, which established greenhouse gas reduction targets for the state and established the cap and trade program. So this new SB 32 establishes a new target and improves our goal. So the original law was to achieve our 1990 level base emissions by 2020, and then the new law is to go 40% below the 1990 level baseline emissions by 2030. So I wanted to share a couple things with you. What does this mean for California's economy? Since 2006, California has attracted several billions of dollars in clean energy investments, and last year, California's clean energy sector grew by 18%. Now there's over 500,000 jobs directly tied to clean energy here. And there are 43,000 businesses that are pushing the needle toward the clean energy economy. We also, California, of all the states, we issued the most clean energy related patents. So there you have it. And then lastly, this is another one here that applies to you folks directly. Senator Pavley, she introduced kind of at the last moment one other bill that we thought would just give one little extra thing for you folks here, and that is SB 62. And what it does is it establishes an Office of the Safety Advocate within the PUC to champion greater safety accountability. So, and that is sitting on the governor's desk as well.
Thank you. Will we get a copy of your notes?
Yes, I will get that to you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Oh, we have a question for you?
No, this is Jennifer's going to call me up and I'll give her a report.
Good evening, everybody. Jared Nagonia, San Fernando Valley Field Deputy for Supervisor Antonovich. I'll keep my update very specific to Aliso Canyon. The big news that happened yesterday, as a lot of you read in the Daily News and the LA Times, is the $4 million court agreement, criminal agreement between the District Attorney's Office and the gas company. We received some calls into the office today, and I do want to stress that that is just one investigation pending right now against the gas company in regards to the incident. We have right now a county lawsuit against SoCal Gas that's going to require underground safety valves. There's the investigation with the State Attorney General's office. You heard the litigation right now pending with the Air Quality Management District. And I think I'm missing one other, but there's a lot of current pending, both criminal and civil investigations right now in regards to this incident. This was just one of them. And I wanted to stress that. Also, the supervisor's office, the county, through our county council, through the public health department and our public works department, we have had monthly conference calls, or weekly conference calls with Dogger and other state agencies regarding the facility and expectations that the county has in regards to the facility and the wells and the regulations. So we've been very active both publicly and behind the scenes in trying to work with Dogger and work with the respective state agencies. And with that, I'll just take questions or comments on it.
I wasn't going to speak.
I had a question. I know that, that many of you know that we had a report of a lot of dead bees. Did you see that? Dead bees, honeybees. I'm not sure if that person's here, but they took pictures and they were told to get in touch with your office. And I know I've contacted your office regarding dead animals that we've seen after the leak was capped. Do you have any update from?
I don't have an update regarding the dead bees. I didn't know. That's a new one. We hadn't received it into the office.
A lot, like hundreds and hundreds of bees. Tampa and Sasson.
Kind of in the middle of the incident before.
No, recently,
I know.
last week.
Now I'm kind of going back to the past how we used to handle it. The county health department does have a vet clinic, or a vet health, a lead vet health doctor, I guess, for lack of a better word. We did take some animals, dead birds and others, for autopsies, for lack of a better word. I will report back to the health to say, hey, we might have another kill off here, specific to bees, and I'll see what kind of protocol we have in place for that.
I just wanted to say, Jared, I read the thing about the $4 million, and to me it didn't seem like hardly any money. It seemed like such a small amount of money for the damage that was done.
Sure.
It should have been like 1 million times more than that.
I think we definitely agree with you, Becky. It surprised me too, but the more I looked into it today, I wanted to make sure I was prepared for tonight's meeting. The court fees, or the mandated fees that the district attorney can place, or fines I should call them, can place, are actually kind of very specific in state law. The other entities that I mentioned that have their lawsuits pending aren't under the same, they're not bound by the same laws that the district attorney's office is in. So if you actually look at the court order between the DA's office and the gas company, it kind of cites very specific in the penal code what they're